Thanks for joining me, guys. Welcome to The Exchange. I'm Kevin. Why don't you do me a favor and hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss any of these upcoming episodes of the podcast, which start January 6th, 2020. We do our first live stream at 7 p.m. And guess what? Big bonus. It's a double release, okay? I'm going to be releasing 2 episodes for the first 3 weeks of the podcast, starting at 7 p.m., going to about 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have Brian Nichols from The Brian Nichols Show. I have Julia Song, an activist. I have Brian Karp, who does real estate investment. I have Tom Goris with his story of his road to recovery, which I think everybody really needs to see. We have a great upcoming season, and I want you to subscribe so you don't miss it. Here I got a few clips that I want you to check out, and then I'll see you in a minute.
She finally confided in her. She was going through the same emotion and pain and all that I was. She just wasn't using the substances, so she needed to reach out to somebody and say something. She said something to her sister-in-law, and her sister-in-law kind of coached her on how to approach me. And one day, Kay did approach me. She met me with love. She met me with compassion. Empathy, and then she asked, a very powerful question, which kind of let me open up. And it was a simple question of like, I see you're not, I don't see you're not doing too well. How bad is it? With that compassionate love and empathy behind it, it spoke to like my resilient self inside, who, my addiction had hijacked a long time ago. But I was finally able to come through, and I broke down in that moment.
So Saudi Arabia is an interesting one. It's a complicated one, actually. Just like all the other issues in the Middle East, they're all complicated. On one hand, we have to keep them as an ally against Iran, because Iran has an influence in Syria, in Lebanon, in Iraq, somewhat in Jordan, but very quietly. But on the other hand, Saudi Arabia is make no mistake about this, it's a repressive regime. Churches are not allowed to be built in Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. They have a number of human rights issues, violations.
You need a new audience, fresh ears who have never heard the joke, and that's just kind of how comedy works. Your setup needs to take people away from the truth. You're going to paint a picture in your mind based on the setup sentences or the setup tone or what the comic is doing. And then the punchline is over here. It reveals that story. And that's why you laugh, because there's something that could be misinterpreted in there. Like, and I thought it was over here and the punchline's over here. And that's why your brain triggers the laughter. So wanting to make that better on a day-to-day basis is difficult. You need a new audience all the time. So I've actually got there's a rehab center, and they get new people every 3 or 4 weeks. And so I do a free show for them because it's new adults.
I think that they're being scammed. I think that they're being scammed to try to think that this new rebranding of government is different than the government that's actually screwing them. But the government that allowed for tuition and tuition costs to be so high, so inflated, is the same government. You're just going to change presidents, but they're going to be the exact same thing. We just got out of 8 years of Obama, Clinton, and Bush, which wasn't that different from all of these people. They're all big government folks. And when you look at all these big government platforms that have been going on for years, they're the reason why you're screwed. And
hey, what'd you think about those clips? I hope you enjoyed them. If you did enjoy them and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. You also, if you want any of the audio versions, in the show notes, there's a link to all the audio platforms. We're on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, and more. So you could also just listen on your way into work without having to watch the visual YouTube channel. But I recommend checking out the premiere episode, January 6, 2020, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. And don't forget to subscribe. I'm Kevin Wormhold, and I'll catch you on The Exchange.